on the horizon for 2028 in the Democratic primary?
Right now?
Yeah.
Bernie and AOC.
No.
They got the biggest crowds.
That doesn't matter.
It won't sustain itself, but right now they have no leader. Okay? But this is the thing the Republican Party has to understand, too. Both parties lost in the last election.
AOC. What? She's kind of fun in a silly but earnest, wrong but adorable way. She's like your daughter when she comes back from her first year at Brown, full of half-baked, half opinions, in need of some gentle, patient deprogramming. But people have to realize new faces doesn't mean new ideas. Drives me crazy. AOC has never introduced a fresh idea or issue in her life.
Who do you see for on the horizon for 2028 in the Democratic primary right now? Yeah, Bernie and AOC. No, they got the biggest crowds. That doesn't matter. It won't sustain itself, but right now they have no leader. Okay, but this is the thing the Republican Party has to understand too. Both parties lost in the last election. AOC. What? She's kind of fun in a silly but earnest, wrong but adorable way. She's like your daughter when she comes back from her first year at Brown, full of half-baked half opinions. In need of some gentle, patient deprogramming. But people have to realize new faces doesn't mean new ideas. Drives me crazy. AOC has never introduced a fresh idea or issue in her life. Bill Maher just hosted former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and sparks flew. But things went nuclear the moment the convo turned to AOC and the growing buzz about her becoming the Democrats' 2028 nominee. Ma didn't just laugh off McCarthy's fantasy of seeing AOC on the ticket. He torched it. And then with surgical precision, he laid out why the Democrats are sleepwalking into a 2028 disaster. I've got every sizzling clip queued up. But before we dive in, smash that subscribe button if you haven't already, and let's get into it. They gamed the system. They changed. And who do you see for on the horizon for 2028 in the Democratic primary right now? Yeah, Bernie and AOC. No, they got the biggest crowds. That doesn't matter. It won't sustain itself. But right now, they have no leader. Okay. But this is the thing the Republican Party has to understand, too. Both parties lost in the last election. Trump won. Okay. And I don't know if that's going to transfer. We should have won 4 more seats in the Senate. If you looked at the last 70 races for the Senate, 69 and Folly exactly I think it's more versus Incan. That's where I see it. Incan would be adjacent, and then Vance and Jr. will fight it out for that crowd. You're think AOC and Bernie. And who's at the top? They're going to lead right now. Who's at the top of that ticket, Kevin? Because if it's not Bernie, he's going to be vice president and wait his turn. It's like Bill Maher physically recoils at the thought of AOC leading the Democratic Party's charge into 2028. And honestly, can you blame him? But like it or not, her name is everywhere. Don Lemon's hyping her up. Kevin McCarthy's oddly intrigued. And a growing chorus of prominent Democrats genuinely believe she's their golden ticket. It's almost like the party is gambling everything on charisma and clout over actual competence. Even the comments section exploded with people dragging Ma for outright torching the idea of a Bernie AOC dream team. Apparently for some that duo is still the fantasy to beat. But this isn't just about AOC. It's about the Democratic Party's identity crisis. Do they double down on the woke progressive lane and risk another electoral train wreck? Or will someone finally slam the brakes before they ride that idealism straight into political irrelevance? Maher's not having it, and the backlash is just getting started. Bernie's been running each time. I'm just saying who's in the lead right now. I don't think that's how it ends up. But big crowds don't necessarily mean who's the right candidate. You know, when I started but it drives where the ideas are going to go. It's going to drive the money for a while. It doesn't make them the winner. It doesn't. No, it doesn't make the winner. You'll have to wait till you'll get 2 years out, and then you'll start seeing these governors that start showing solutions. You also have to know what is the issue going to be. Are we going to have a foreign policy issue? Are we going to have an economic issue? And who's been the best in leading in that? But right now, for the Democrats, who's going to lead for the next 2 years, the money is gonna AOC outraised everybody in the House, and it's all small. It's all small donors. And this is exactly where Trump was when no one gave him a chance at 17. He outraised everybody else. So that's where the base is at. And they're right, there is the problem. Elections aren't just some popularity contest where the loudest cheer wins or the biggest fundraiser gets a gold star. I mean, Kamala Harris checked every box in 2024. She raised a jaw-dropping $1.5 billion in months, had celebrities lining up like it was Coachella, and packed stadiums like a rock star. And yet, she delivered one of the most humiliating defeats in modern political history. Bravo. That's exactly the point Maher's hammering home. The left keeps confusing noise for substance. And let's not even start with the Trump comparison. Say what you want about the guy. But Trump didn't just draw crowds. He delivered a message. One that connected. One that didn't sound like it came out of a college seminar on postmodernism. He wasn't spouting fringe theories that left moderates clutching their pearls. He was, for better or worse, authentic. Unlike Kamala, who somehow managed to be everywhere and nowhere at once. We do know what AOC will not be doing, and that's a running for the top spot on the Oversight Committee. If you can put a DD0 here. She says Jerry Connolly stepped aside, who had beat her in the race for a ranking Dem on Oversight, and she says she's not running this time. She says, quote, "It's actually clear to me that the underlying dynamics in the caucus have not shifted with respect to seniority as much as I think would be necessary, and so I believe I'll be staying put at Energy and Commerce," unquote, cause if she would be ranking member then she couldn't serve on Energy and Commerce Committee. Now, if you manage to cut through the word salad, here's the translation. AOC isn't throwing her hat in the ring for the top spot on the Oversight Committee. Why? Simple. Her party still worships at the altar of seniority, which means the odds are stacked against her. She learned that the hard way last year when she ran and lost to 75-year-old Jerry Connolly. But there's more. Gunning for oversight would mean giving up her coveted seat on the Energy and Commerce Committee. A powerful purse she's not eager to surrender, especially if she's eyeing a presidential run down the line. And let's not kid ourselves, AOC's decisions are as much about optics as they are about influence. Oversight may offer TV time and headlines, but Energy and Commerce gives her real policy leverage and credibility on big-ticket issues like climate and corporate regulation, swapping that out just to battle with Republicans in endless hearings. Not exactly a power move when you're thinking long game, and possibly the White House. But people like Maher and Greg Gutfeld think that she isn't the one to lead the Democrats to the White House. And here's why. AOC finally responded proudly concerning a high school yearbook photo that proves she grew up in a wealthy suburb. She said, "See, I told you I went to high school. And I can tell you, I know that when I was waitressing and struggling to put food on the table for a while. There I did. I tried to stop caring. I tried to just keep my head down, work my shifts, and accept that this is just how things are. But that is no way to live. Arizona, it's no way to live. So, if you haven't heard, AOC's name isn't exactly AOC. It's more like so as in Sandy Ocasio. Yep, that's right. A recent dive into her background unearthed some rather inconvenient truths. Turns out her birth name isn't the polished Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez we're used to. It's Sandy Ocasio, and that heart-tugging tale about growing up in an impoverished Bronx neighborhood. Not quite. Records suggest she was raised in a far more comfortable environment than she lets on. And let's talk about that waitressing story she loves to bring up. While it's framed as proof of her working-class struggles, it's hardly a smoking gun for poverty. Plenty of well-off college kids and trust fund babies have done their time serving tables. It's practically a rite of passage in America. So, no, it doesn't automatically make her the poster child for economic hardship. What it does do, however, is raise questions about how carefully crafted her from the struggle brand really is. AOC. What? She's kind of fun in a silly but earnest, wrong but adorable way. She's like your daughter when she comes back from her first year at Brown, full of half-baked half-opinions. In need of some gentle, patient deprogramming. But people have to realize new faces doesn't mean new ideas. Drives me crazy. AOC has never introduced a fresh idea or issue in her life. Interestingly, and quite concerningly, people have bought into her carefully manufactured narrative, swallowing it whole, hook, line, and sinker. They see her as a savvy, outspoken, fearless woman who supposedly takes on the bull by the horns and is ready to save America. The thinking goes, if she could overcome adversity in her personal life, never mind that much of it is exaggerated or outright misleading, why not trust her to do the same for the nation? But here's the catch. The story she's selling doesn't hold up under real scrutiny. Her background isn't the tale of gritty survival she loves to peddle. And her rise has more to do with image management than ironclad principles. Yet many remain mesmerized by her word salads and over-the-top passion, mistaking chaotic rants for eloquence and rehearsed outrage for courage. What they call bravery often amounts to branding. It's not leadership. It's performance art with a political twist. So by now you heard that AOC among others were arrested last night. She truly is an American hero. It was brutal. Taken out in cuffs. Well, technically her shirt had cuffs. Maybe French cuffs. This all went down during a protest against the Supreme Court's 2022 decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. Naturally, AOC and her woke entourage weren't thrilled with the idea.